What if the Browns' biggest secret isn't a strategy, a trade, or a playbook? What if the real mystery is a name they refuse to say out loud? Because in Cleveland, there's a player sitting quietly behind the scenes, a high-profile rookie quarterback with NFL bloodlines, national college stardom, and a fire that fans can feel through the screen. And yet, the coaching staff treats him like he doesn't exist. No updates, no quotes, not even a whisper. They'll talk about backups. They'll praise the waterboy. But when it comes to Shadur Sanders, silent. And here's where it gets weird. This isn't just a case of he's not ready. This feels like a full-blown football conspiracy. Dillon Gabriel keeps struggling. Tommy Rees keeps calling plays like it's 1,982. And Shedeur? Still nowhere to be found. You want to talk about pressure? The fans are done whispering. Reporters are itching to ask the question no one wants to answer. And every bad throw, every sad 4th and 1, turns up the heat on a name that's becoming harder to ignore. Because when everyone's avoiding the same name, that's not football strategy anymore. That's a storyline. And it's only getting stranger. It's one of the strangest unwritten rules in Cleveland right now. Don't say his name. Reporters know it. Coaches avoid it. And even when they do talk about quarterbacks, it's like this specific one doesn't exist. His locker is there, his jersey's printed, his face shows up in B-roll clips. But when it's time to speak about the future of the team, silence. Total blackout. Like his name's cursed. You could be sitting through a full press conference, stats flying, excuses pouring out, evaluations being tossed around like confetti, and still not a single mention of Shadur Sanders. Not a hint, not a suggestion. Not even one of those awkward, he's working hard behind the scenes lines teams throw out when trying to soften the blow. Instead, it's Dillon Gabriel this, Dillon Gabriel that. Tommy Rees doubles down on his guy every single week, like he's defending a franchise legend, instead of a rookie who's clearly hitting a wall. But here's where it gets even spookier. They're not just favoring Gabriel, they're actively dodging Sanders. Like his name is a magical trigger that might summon controversy if spoken aloud. One well-timed shatter in a press conference, and it feels like the building might self-destruct. You can almost picture it. Someone in the facility says the name Shedeur out loud too confidently, and alarms go off. Red lights flashing, security rushing in like someone set off a fire drill. Sir, please step away from the depth chart. You know the rules. It's like he's been erased. By design. And come on, fans are noticing. They're not dumb. They've been watching football long enough to recognize when something doesn't add up. You don't draft a guy like Shadur Sanders for the PR spin. You draft him because you're investing in the future face of your franchise. So why treat him like Voldemort from Harry Potter? Why treat his name like it can't be mentioned without a 10-second delay and a PR rep stepping in? Here's the wildest part, they're not even pretending it's a competition. They're not saying, hey, we're working behind the scenes, preparing Shadur for his chance. They're not hyping him up. They're not managing expectations. They're not doing anything. He's just gone. But if you listen close, the silence is loud. Every time Dillon Gabriel struggles through another ugly drive, every time Tommy Rees delivers a word salad about progress while nothing changes on the scoreboard, every time Kevin Stefanski answers a QB question with a vague deflection followed by a shrug, that silence screams louder than anything they could say. It's uncomfortable. It's confusing. And most of all, it's suspicious. Because at this point, it's not just that Shedeur isn't starting. It's that the entire building is pretending there's no reason to even mention him. That's not coaching strategy, that's control. That's image protection, that's internal politics. And don't think Shedeur isn't noticing. You think a guy who played under Deion Sanders, grew up in the spotlight, and carried an entire college program on his back doesn't recognize what's going on around him? Come on, he knows the game. But he also knows his name has value. And right now, that value is ticking like a quiet clock behind the scenes, each tick getting louder. With every dropped pass, every missed read, and every painful loss. Because once that name is finally spoken, the whole city's going to turn and look. And it won't just be a quarterback change, it'll be a reckoning. But until that moment happens, we're all living inside this bizarre, unspoken conspiracy, where the only crime is saying the name everyone's already thinking. When Tommy Rees officially took over play calling for Cleveland, there was this moment real brief where you could feel the hope start to bubble up. Maybe, just maybe, this would be the pivot point, the turning of the page, the chapter where things start to click. New voice, new vision, new urgency. This was supposed to be the scheme upgrade. Like switching from dial-up to Wi-Fi. Like grabbing the controller from your little cousin and saying, "All right, let me show you how it's done." Except, it didn't look any different. The new offense looked exactly like the old offense, just running slower, with slightly more confusion, like they swapped playbooks with a high school team midway through the broadcast. Same checkdown patterns, same busted reads, same painfully predictable motions. It wasn't a new beginning, it was the same bad Netflix episode with a different director. And that's where the questions start creeping in. Because if this was your moment to make a bold impression, your shot to clean things up, shake things up, and show the fan base you're capable, why are we still calling plays like it's fourth-string reps in a preseason walkthrough? Nothing changed. Except now, Tommy Rees was the one standing at the podium, owning it all. To be fair, Rees sounds like a guy who sees the light at the end of the tunnel. At the end of every loss, he tells us they're closing in, that it's trending the right direction. That progress is being made somewhere, somehow, in theory. Meanwhile, fans are sitting at home staring at the screen like, trending where exactly? Toward another 3 and out? Week after week, the Browns keep stacking drives that don't go anywhere, while Rees confidently tells the press, "We felt like we put our guys in position to succeed." Sure, if you meant the other team's defense, it's become almost comedic. Every offensive series feels like some weird trust fall, where Rees calls a play, Dillon closes his eyes, and we all just kinda wait to see who hits the ground first. Spoiler, it's usually the Browns. Maybe the plays work well on paper. Maybe in team meetings they draw it up and nod, like, "Yeah, this is the one." But on Sundays, on national TV, it looks like everyone just got assigned lines to a script they never rehearsed. And let's give credit where it's due, Tommy Rees is loyal. Painfully so. At this point, he's more than just a play caller. He's Dillon Gabriel's personal hype man. The stadium could be on fire, the offensive line could be holding signs saying help, and Rees would still be whispering into the headset, "Stay the course, Dillon's fine." It's like watching a proud dad at a middle school talent show, clapping way too hard for a performance nobody else understands. He's doubling down, triple downing, defending Gabriel with everything he's got. And what's crazier? He refuses to adjust. Blitzes come flying, receivers aren't open, plays keep collapsing, and still, Rees acts like there's nothing wrong with the blueprint. No tweaks, no spark, no hint that maybe, just maybe, the offense needs something different. A different rhythm, a different approach, a different quarterback? Nope. To Tommy, adjustments are for the weak. Tweaks are overrated. If it's not working, just call it again with more conviction. He's not looking for other solutions, he's protecting his vision. And Dillon Gabriel? That's his guy, no matter what unfolds on game day. Meanwhile, the fan base is losing its collective mind. They're not even asking for Shedeur at this point, they're begging for literal change. Any change. Maybe a wildcat, maybe a trick play. Hell, hand it to the kicker and just let him run. Because right now, it feels like 11 guys walk onto the field every series already, knowing what's about to happen, and still can't stop it. And that's the most dangerous kind of offense, the one that refuses to evolve. Coming up, when the team reaches that infamous 4th and 1 moment, the one that broke Cleveland's patience in half and made fans finally scream the name the coaches still won't touch. By this point in the season, it's painfully clear. Dillon Gabriel isn't developing, he's regressing. Forget the hype, the hopes, the give it time arguments. This isn't just growing pains. This is a slow motion unraveling right in front of our faces. Week 1? There were flashes. You could squint and see the potential, a few decent throws, a little mobility, hope. Not a lot, but enough to hold on to. Now, everything looks stuck in reverse. The reads are slower, his feet look jittery. He doesn't trust the pocket, and honestly, you can't blame him. But instead of getting better, he's getting smaller out there like a quarterback shrinking under pressure that was never supposed to be his problem in the first place. And yet, Rees keeps rolling him out there like this is part of the plan. Like this is the natural process of grooming a future star. But ask any fan watching week to week, Dillon isn't maturing. He's melting. Let's be real for a second. NFL defenses aren't gentle. They don't care what system you ran in college or how many motivational quotes you posted on Instagram. They hunt. And right now, Dillon Gabriel is running for his life every Sunday like it's an episode of Survivor AFC North Edition. And when he does stand in the pocket, most of the time he's holding the ball too long, second-guessing, hoping something will magically open up while defenders are already in his lap. Rees keeps treating this like a test he just needs to pass. But the truth is, the test already started, and Dillon's flunking every section. Third downs? Still a disaster. Fourth quarters? Forget it, that's when the wheels completely come off, and the offense starts playing scared. You know what it feels like? Like Gabriel is out there playing not to mess up instead of playing to win. Conservative throws. No risk, no spark. Just survival. And no matter what Rees tries to sell in press conferences, the eye test doesn't lie. The numbers say it. The fans see it. Even casual viewers flipping through NFL Red Zone can tell something's not right in Cleveland, and Gabriel is at the center of the storm. This isn't the future QB1 storyline people were promised. This is a rushed experiment with no backup plan. And worse, they're treating it like it's working. Constant reps. Constant chance. Meanwhile, Shadur Sanders, the guy with actual NFL traits, charisma, and poise, sits in the shadows like a background character in his own story. You can hide Shedeur from the media. You can avoid his name in interviews. But you can't hide the fact that Gabriel is not built for this. Look at how defenses are lining up. They're daring him to throw. The box is stacked. The blitzes are obvious. Opponents are looking at game film and saying, "Let him beat us, we're not scared." And so far, they're right not to be. The crazy part? Even with all this, the coaching staff still calls plays like Gabriel is the guy. Like he's Aaron Rodgers with 10 championships behind him. They roll him out over and over, clogging the field with predictable routes, while the O-line can barely hold for 2 seconds. It's repetitive, it's forced, and honestly, it's exhausting to watch. And deep down, whether they'll admit it or not, the locker room feels it too. Because if your quarterback walks into the huddle with 10 guys who've already lost confidence, that play is over before the snap even happens. So now the Browns are stuck. Gabriel is crumbling, the scheme isn't working, the patience is running dangerously low, and the name sitting quietly in the shadows? Getting louder. Because it's not just that Dillon Gabriel is failing, it's that Shedeur might already be the better option. But nobody's brave enough to say it. You want to know the exact moment fans officially lost it? 4th and 1. 1 yard to go. The whole stadium on edge, energy peaking. Everyone knowing this is it. It was the kind of situation that screams, run the ball. Use your fullback, pound it behind your line. Do what every successful football team on earth does in this moment. Be physical, be smart, be aggressive. But what does Cleveland do instead? A rollout pass. Yep, a rollout. On 4th and 1. With a struggling rookie quarterback who's already been chased around all game. You could feel the confusion buzz out from the huddle like static. Fans straight up froze, waiting to see if it was some kind of trick. Like, maybe the formation was a decoy. Maybe it's a fake. Maybe anything. Nope. That ball got snapped. The play unfolded. The defense barely needed 2 seconds to blow it up like they'd been handed the root tree before the game. And just like that, poof, possession gone, momentum shot, crowd deflated. It wasn't just a failed play, it was a breaking point. Because this wasn't one isolated call. It was the accumulation of every head-scratching decision from the past several weeks, wrapped into one ridiculous, avoidable failure. Let's rewind. Cleveland has a fullback. Not just any fullback, one of the few left in the league who actually delivers every time he's on the field. He blocks like he's avenging a childhood grudge, runs like he's fueled on caffeine and crushed ego. Every game, when they use him, positive yards, consistent success, stability. And yet, when it came time to trust that bruiser, they left him on the sideline like it was symbolic. No power run, no motion, no fight. Just a rollout that felt like a surrender with style. That play became a meme before the broadcast was even over. Clips of angry fans throwing their foam dog pound gear. Reddit football threads lighting up like they caught the offensive coordinator calling plays off a magic 8-ball. Commentators spinning in circles, trying to defend what they couldn't explain. Because the thing isn't just that the play failed, it's that it never had a real chance. And everyone knew it the moment it started unfolding in slow motion. You're telling me, in that critical moment, with the game hanging in the balance in a cold weather town that prides itself on toughness and grit, you draw up a rollout instead of trusting your line and running what works? It was like watching someone throw a paper airplane at a brick wall and being surprised when it doesn't fly. And amid all this, no one's talking about Shadur Sanders. Still, we've got meltdown-level play calls. We've got a quarterback who looks more scared than prepared. We've got a fullback breaking imaginary tackles on the sidelines. And through the smoke, the one player who might inject life into the team remains a whisper. That 4th and 1? That wasn't just a bad call. That was a message. A message that this coaching staff is so committed to this broken formula, they'd rather lose their way than win a better way. And for fans, it was the moment something broke. Not just belief in the scheme, not just frustration with the staff, but something wider, deeper. Why are we pretending this is okay? Because that play said it all. The Browns aren't lost because they slipped up once or twice. They're lost because they stopped listening to logic, to fans, to the field conditions, to their own personnel, and most tragically to the future that's right there, watching from the bench, wearing number 5. Cleveland can ignore the fans in the stands. They can dodge press conference questions. They can even pretend like a quarterback doesn't exist. But there's one beast they can't hold back forever: the internet. And it's been eating this situation alive. What started as curiosity has turned into full-blown obsession. At first, it was subtle. Just a few posts from irritated fans saying, "Why's Shedeur not even dressing?" Then came the Reddit threads. Then the burner, Twitter divided by X, accounts connecting dots. And now, there's a digital movement forming, pulling receipts, analyzing clips, and flat-out calling it what it looks like: a Shadur Sanders blackout. Every week, the team posts final scores online, and the replies are a war zone. Thousands of comments. Same exact question. Where's Shedeur? GIFs, memes, clips, explosions. Fans are starting to sound like vigilante investigators in a missing player cold case. And here's what makes it worse. The silence from the team is actually fueling the fire. Because every time you duck the topic, people assume there's something to hide. The algorithm has locked in. Shadur Sanders, Browns conspiracy, Tommy Rees QB agenda. These are trending topics every single Sunday. YouTube thumbnails are popping up with red arrows, blurred screenshots, theories with titles like, "Why is Shedeur being silenced? Tommy Rees is hiding something. Cleveland's QB cover-up exposed." And honestly, can you blame fans? They're watching an offense implode. They're watching Dillon Gabriel get worse, not better. They're watching the same plays tank, the same decisions backfire, the same press conference excuses get repeated like broken AI. Meanwhile, the player with the most potential is being referred to less than the team's third-string tight end. Like, imagine drafting Shadur Sanders, the son of Dion, social media legend, national spotlight magnet, and pretending like you just forgot. That doesn't sit right with people. And now it's spiraling. One TikTok shows a cut where a reporter almost says his name before pivoting. That clip, 150,000 views in 2 hours. Caption: what are they afraid of? Even former players have started making noise. NFL veterans and analysts are hopping on podcasts saying, "Look, I've been in locker rooms. When this many people avoid a guy's name, that's not about gameplay. That's personal." They're bringing up Shedeur like a shadow looming over the facility, a name they refuse to say, but one that is getting louder every week. And while the coaching staff keeps tap dancing around the issue like it's a bomb about to go off, it's already gone viral. The more they deny, the bigger the reaction gets. And let's not act like we haven't seen this before. NFL history is full of these scenarios. A coach locks in on his guy and tunes everyone else out. Meanwhile, the roster holds a sleeping giant who just needs one chance to ignite the entire team. The media senses it. The crowd starts chanting. And eventually, someone upstairs caves. It's becoming inevitable. Because if you're a coach or GM right now scrolling the mentions, you're not seeing questions. You're seeing demands. You're seeing statements like, "Bench Dillon," "Start Shedeur or clean house," "What are y'all hiding?" And once those comments start storming the team's actual official posts, that's not internet noise, that's a digital revolt. Make no mistake, social media isn't just watching from the sidelines this time. It's building pressure brick by brick, tweet by tweet, meme by meme, until the coaching staff has no choice but to face what they've been avoiding. Because the longer you avoid mentioning the name, the louder the world's gonna yell it for you. And that moment's coming. Fast. Next up, a quarterback room cracking under pressure. A coaching staff pretending the volcano isn't shaking. and a player waiting in the shadows who just needs the mic to get handed his way once. By now, it's not just the fact that Shadur Sanders hasn't played. It's not even just that he hasn't been named. It's the way the staff acts like the topic doesn't even exist. It's the tension in every press conference. It's the awkward sidesteps in every interview. It's the over-explaining when they talk about anyone except him. And naturally, the question has boiled over. Why won't they say his name? Let's be clear, we're not talking about typical rookie development. This goes way beyond that. Most NFL teams have no issue tossing out a, "he's got potential, but we're bringing him along slowly," or "he just needs time to grow into the system." But here, nothing. Not even coach speak. Not even surface-level praise. It's like Shedeur is on a separate roster that nobody's allowed to reference. So now the theories are flooding in, some believable, some wild, and some just intriguing enough to sound real. Theory 1. Personality conflicts behind the scenes. Some reports have hinted that the Cleveland staff wasn't thrilled with Shedeur's media presence before the draft. He came in confident, polished, and direct, maybe too direct. There are whispers that during interviews or early camps, Shedeur may have said some things that came off as a little too sure of himself. Nothing over the line, but just enough to rub certain coaches the wrong way. Did it hurt his standing? Who knows? But in a league where political capital matters just as much as play-calling ability, even small tension can shift a trajectory. And remember, this is the NFL. If a coaching staff decides you're not their type, your road gets steeper. Theory 2. The Rees, Gabriel loyalty pipeline. Let's not overlook the ties. Offensive coordinator Tommy Rees has a long coaching history with his guys. At Alabama, at Notre Dame, he had favorites, and he stuck by them no matter what. Many see Dillon Gabriel as Rees's choice QB, the safer pick, the controllable student, the guy who'll run the system without asking questions. And Shedeur? He doesn't fit that mold. He's not a silent operator. He's a presence. He's got swagger. Attention follows him: cameras, reporters, social media. Some fans speculate that Rees simply doesn't want that challenge, that he'd rather keep things tight, controlled, and safe, even if the results aren't there. It's not about talent. It's about trust. And Rees trusts what he can control. Theory 3. A hidden development plan or a political smokescreen? There's also a softer side theory, that the Browns are developing Shadur just in total secrecy. The theory says he's being groomed privately, away from the spotlight, to avoid media pressure. That all of this, the silence, the avoidance, could be part of a larger rollout strategy for next season. But here's the problem. If that's true, why not say it? Why not tell fans we believe in him, just not yet? Why make it weirdly vague to the point where people think something shady's going on? Because when the team says absolutely nothing, human nature fills in the blanks. And right now, the blanks are being filled with rumors. Theory SA, front office coaching conflict. Some believe this silence isn't even about Shedeur, but about tension within the team itself. Could it be that the Browns front office drafted Shedeur, but the coaching staff didn't want him? It wouldn't be the first time. NFL history has plenty of examples where ownership made a flashy pick, and the staff quietly resisted until they were either forced to use him or replaced. Are Rees and Stefanski trying to win with their guy as a soft protest? Some fans seem to think so. And each passing week where Gabriel gets another chance and Shedeur stays in the dark only fuels that theory. In the end, one thing is clear. Whether it's ego, politics, trust issues, or just extreme caution, the refusal to even name Shadur Sanders has become a story louder than touchdowns. And it's working against them. The longer the staff ignores it, the more suspicious it looks. The more Gabriel stumbles, the more it feels like sabotage. The more silence we get, the louder the pressure grows. You can't hide talent forever. You can bury it in the depth chart. You can avoid saying it into a microphone. But you can't stop the fans, the media, or the game itself from eventually demanding it. And the crazier part? This saga isn't just strange, it's starting to crack wide open. Because the next loss, the next interception, the next 4th and 1 catastrophe may finally push this thing to the point of no return. It always starts with silence. Then comes the pressure. Then, the explosion. Right now, Cleveland is standing one bad quarter away from everything flipping upside down. One more clunky, offensive performance. One more loss that shouldn't have been a loss. One more game ending in a fourth quarter meltdown. And this entire situation blows wide open. Because pressure in the NFL is like gravity. It only pulls one direction down. And eventually, something breaks. The coaching staff sees it. They feel it. That buzz in the stadium that used to feel like home field advantage? Now it feels like a warning. Every incomplete throw? Here come the boos. Every stalled drive? Here come the chants. And it's not a question of if fans start chanting Shedur's name. It's just a matter of when. Because here's the thing. Nobody soft whispers a quarterback switch. There's no polite tap on the shoulder when pressure arrives. There's shouting, chaos, and a media storm on live television. And when that moment hits, Cleveland's entire QB room becomes a national storyline overnight. Reporters start cornering coaches. Field-level cameras will zoom in. Commentators will start slipping Shedur's name into broadcasts faster than coaches can deny it. And the front office, which has tiptoed around this chessboard for weeks, they'll be forced to decide, stick with the guy that's clearly not progressing. Or break the silence that's been holding this team together with duct tape. Because here's what fans instinctively understand, even without seeing the playbook. Dillon Gabriel isn't getting better. This offense isn't unlocking anything new. And eventually, the excuses run out. There's no more, he needs more reps. There's no, we're trending up. There's no sugarcoating when you're sitting at the bottom of the division and your offense can't convert on third down to save its life. At some point, someone has to be the first to say it. Put Shadur in. Not in code, not in theory, out loud, on the record. With cameras rolling and microphones live. And once that happens, that forbidden name becomes the most powerful word in Cleveland. Because when the dam breaks, every piece of pressure explodes at once. The media who've been tiptoeing will pile on. The national shows will start asking real questions. Veteran players will give those cryptic quotes to sideline reporters. And suddenly, every interview becomes a fire control mission. So why wasn't Shadur under center earlier? If he was this ready, why keep hiding him? Was this about performance or politics? And let's talk about the other side of that moment because it's just as wild. The exact second Shedur's name is said with intent, the fan base flips from angry to electric. You'll see high-level whiplash happen in real time. 1 minute, people are protesting play calls. The next, they're celebrating like the team just signed Patrick Mahomes. And that moment is coming fast. Every bad drive from here on out is jet fuel. Every defensive stop the offense wastes adds weight. The team may still be trying to manage the noise, but the noise is now calling the plays. And no amount of locker room culture speeches can drown out 70,000 people chanting the name you've been avoiding for months. We've seen it in other cities. Backup QB chants during a primetime blowout. Third stringer Yassi's sales spike overnight. Reporters using words like QB controversy before the coach even leaves the post-game podium. That tipping point is creeping closer every snap. And when it hits, it won't be quiet. It won't be polite. It won't be subtle. It will be shatter, spoken clearly, repeated loudly, echoing through the stadium, across the broadcasts, and finally down the sideline toward a coach who can't pretend this isn't real anymore. Because once a fan base stops asking nicely, they start demanding change. And no amount of radio silence can save you when 100 million people suddenly want the answer to the same question. What took so long? It happens quietly at first, maybe a sideline exchange, maybe an assistant whispers something in the headset, or maybe the head coach just feels it in his gut, the way a storm builds before the rain starts. And then, finally, somebody says it, out loud. Nah dodging, nah, we'll see, nah PR sanitized deflection. Shadur, you're in. And just like that, Cleveland changes. The broadcast catches it. Cameras swing to the sideline as helmet straps snap on. Number 5, steps up. No confusion, no hesitation. Just a look on his face that says, y'all should have done this weeks ago. The crowd at first stunned suddenly erupts. It's not cheering, it's not applause, it's a release. A full-blown, stadium-wide exhale like the city just broke a spell. Phones are out. Social media goes into instant meltdown. Shatter time trends globally. People are texting friends who don't even watch football. Turn on the game right now. You're gonna want to see this. It's not just a quarterback change. It's a shift in narrative. Hope unlocked, cows reorganized. For the first time in weeks, fans see movement instead of excuses. And the players? they feel it immediately. The offensive line, which has looked sluggish and unmotivated for weeks, suddenly finds fire. Receivers are sprinting like it's week 1 again. Even the fullback, yeah. That one they kept forgetting looks like he's ready to knock somebody into next season. This isn't a coincidence. This is what happens when a roster and a fan base finally sees the guy they've been waiting for. And here's the thing about Shedeur. He's not just talented. He plays like he knows the pressure is real and he doesn't run from it. He invites it. He adjusts to it. He's been bred for moments like this. You don't survive under Dillon Sanders without understanding spotlight. You thrive in it. You flip pressure into momentum. And that's exactly what he does here. First snap, clean. Reads the field with poise. Second play, bullet to the sideline. Third series, touchdown drive. No theatrics, just execution. And suddenly, the questions disappear. Is he ready? Does he know the full playbook? Can he handle NFL pressure? All answered. Instantly. But more than stats, more than completions, it's the body language that tells the truth. The team plays looser, the fans shout louder. Even the defense, standing on the sideline for once with oxygen in their lungs, looks recharged. Because Shedeur didn't just walk into a huddle, he walked into a storyline and rewrote it. And you can already hear the quotes being prepped in post-game. We believe in this group. Shedeur stepped in and gave us a spark. He stayed ready. But here's the part that's truly wild. They'll pretend like this was always the plan. Suddenly, the coaching staff is excited about his progress. Suddenly, it's been part of the development roadmap all along. Suddenly, Rees is nodding at the podium like he's been predicting this moment from day one. And sure, if it turns into wins, nobody cares how we got here. But Cleveland fans remember. They'll remember the silence, the deflections, the missed moments, the 4th and 1s, the baffling loyalty to a plan that wasn't working while the actual answer was hiding behind red tape and ridiculous internal politics. Years later, when people talk about this moment, they won't just say Shedeur took over. They'll say, finally, the Browns stopped pretending he didn't exist. And let the story begin. Because for Cleveland, this wasn't the birth of a rookie QB. It was the escape hatch from a season drowning in denial. Cleveland can put Shedeur in. They can give him the reps. They can rebuild the offense around his strengths, slap together a new scheme, and act like they always saw this moment coming. They can high-five after the game, smile into the cameras, post the behind-the-scenes locker room speech with emojis and inspirational hashtags. But there's one thing they can't do. They can't erase the silent era. Because this wasn't just a football decision. It was weeks, maybe months, of pretending common sense was complicated. They made it weird. They made it mysterious. They turned a straightforward quarterback debate into a full-blown plot twist worthy of a documentary. And now they want fans to just forget? Yeah. Not happening. Because Cleveland fans remember everything. They remember watching post-game interviews where Shedeur's name still wasn't brought up, even when Dillon Gabriel just finished a 9-for-27 performance. They remember 4th and 1 decisions that ignored proven weapons, like gravity itself. They remember a coaching staff that praised progress, while the scoreboard screamed panic. They remember the game plans that felt like somebody hit random on Madden and just handed it in. And now, in the same breath, the same coaches want to frame Shedeur's ascension as some calculated process? Please. They didn't roll him out because the plan was playing out beautifully. They rolled him out because the pressure finally hit irreversible levels. Because the fans made it too loud to ignore. Because sooner or later, silence stops being safe and starts being suspicious. And that part, the denial phase, that will live forever. There will be memes. There will be quotes. There will be highlight reels edited to show the gap between what was said and what everyone watching already knew. We feel confident in Dillon. Shedeur's path is just different. We're taking it week by week. All 3 of those will be played over footage of touchdown passes, sideline explosions, and Gabriel throwing into triple coverage while the checkdown is wide open. It's already happening online. There are Twitter divided by X threads tracking every week they ignored Shedeur. There are YouTube conspiracies with tens of thousands of views breaking down coach body language and play call tendencies like it's the Zapruder film. There are parody accounts role-playing as Kevin Stefanski's inner thoughts during press conferences. This isn't going away, because when history looks this deliberate, fans don't forget it, they archive it. And they'll keep bringing it up whenever the Browns get too full of themselves. Nice win, But let's not act like y'all didn't keep the best quarterback benched while the season spiraled. Even if Shedeur becomes the guy, even if he lights up the scoreboard for the rest of the season, the timeline doesn't get wiped clean. We all remember how it started, what was said, what wasn't said, and how long it took for the obvious decision to finally be made. Because Cleveland didn't stumble upon their best player, they delayed him. And while they'll try to twist it into a master plan, fans will always know better. They'll talk about this era like we talk about bad finales to great shows. Everything was set up perfectly, and somehow, someone in the writer's room resisted until the last possible second. So now, every future interview will carry that underlying question. What took so long? And no matter how many wins follow, no matter how many quotes they revise, no matter how many new rookies they draft next year, the silent era will live forever because fans had to scream the answer before the coaches could say it. And when that happens, that's not strategy. That's damage control. In the end, this wasn't about a depth chart, it was about control. Who controls the message? Who controls the moment? Who controls the name that flips a season on its head? Cleveland tried to control all of it. The silence, the story, the timing. But pressure doesn't ask for permission. It stacks, it presses, it explodes. We watched a staff speak in circles while the offense spun in place. We watched Dillon Gabriel battle, hesitate, and shrink inside a plan that didn't protect him. We watched Rees double down so hard it felt personal. And we watched a city grow louder every week until the whispers became demands. Then came the snap, the switch, the name finally spoken. Shadur steps in, and suddenly the field feels wider, the routes look cleaner, the huddle looks alive. Hope isn't theoretical anymore, it's visible. But here's what sticks beyond the highlight throws and the scoreboard shifts. This was never just a quarterback debate, it was a test of honesty. Can a franchise admit when it's wrong? Can a coaching staff pivot before the season breaks? Can a team trust the future before the present collapses? Maybe the reasons for the silence were harmless. Maybe it was caution. Maybe it was development. Or maybe it was ego, politics, and the comfort of a plan that felt safe even when it wasn't working. Rumors will keep swirling, theories will keep multiplying. That's what happens when clarity shows up late. What we know is simple. Fans saw it first. They felt the stall, they read the body language, and they kept the receipts. The 4th and 1 call became a symbol. The rollout obsession became a joke. The press conferences turned into puzzles with pieces deliberately missing. And through it all, the quietest voice in the building carried the most weight, the one they didn't want to say out loud. So where does this go from here? Two paths always exist in stories like this. The team embraces what's working, builds around it, and wins back the trust they nearly lost. Or they retreat to comfort, play it safe, and watch the same problems return under a different excuse. Because the truth no one wants to say is the most obvious one. You can't half commit to a quarterback change. Either you build the offense around him, or you build a new alibi for why it didn't work. Shadur isn't a magic trick. He's not a myth. He's not a punchline in a conspiracy thread. He's a quarterback, one with presence, one with timing, one with an offense that looks different because he makes different things possible. Let the plays prove it. Let the results say what the press conferences won't. Let the future be louder than the silence that came before it. And if Cleveland really wants to turn this into the season that changed everything, don't pretend this was always part of the plan. Own the turn. Build the system. Trust the spark. Stop guarding the storyline, start winning the games. Because one day, when this season is a documentary and not a debate, the chapter people replay won't be the delay. It'll be the moment the name was finally said, the moment the noise flipped into belief, the moment a franchise stopped resisting the obvious and let the field decide. That's how legacies start. Not with a secret, with a decision. If you're ready for Cleveland to quit dancing around it and go all in, drop a "start him" in the comments. If you think the silence was strategy, say why. And if you've got your own theory about the blackout, drop it below. We're reading everything. Hit like if you felt this. Subscribe if you want the next chapter. Because this saga, it isn't done. The name's out now. And once it's out, it echoes.